Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking another look, of course, here at Chiliz, helping you understand best practice, big picture, and the whole 9 yards. I've gotten a lot of requests from my community members, some of my subscribers from YouTube, and just generally even on social media, what's going on here. And you just got to keep in mind there's a lot of fundamental catalysts here, so even though the technical analysis is relevant and still accurate, there's a lot of little things that are kind of factoring in. You got to recognize, World Cup, that whole soccer world is tied in directly to this. So again, do your own research, obviously, if you're going to trade this, but I would generally say that we're looking pretty good, and I think that there's more potential for upside here, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But if you are new to the channel, just note that I'm not a financial advisor. I truly do love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today, and obviously if you do, comment below, let me know, love to hear it. And if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a website, link in the description below. You can essentially join my trading academy, community, and signal group. Highly recommend registering before the year is over. We're changing our payment structure with our new website launching in the 1st of January, essentially, or the first week of January, and making sure that we get ahead of the curve there, but you can lock in your rate if you do that ahead of time. That being said, though, last thing I want to kind of preface is the fact we do have the King's Cup Global Invitation coming up here, and we do have only another, 2 more trading days to effectively be able to register for this. So I've got a good group of folks here, got 13 members that are ready to rock and roll, and we're going to have some fun. So check that out in your own time. Again, if you do register with my link in the description below, you'll qualify for future prize pools, and those are always monthly. And the only thing we're not doing that for next month because of the King's Cup. So just bear that in mind. So here's the thing with Chiliz, big picture, simply put, it's actually doing quite well considering how hard it got hit from the FTX issue from last week. So obviously you can see that the FTX Armageddon, you could say. I mean, pretty much every single coin had this similar response. Difference is Chiliz is up. Most coins are stuck on stupid going sideways right now. So that's a very positive sign. We want to see if there's any overextension here or potential there, kind of help us understand what that might look like in the big picture, how much further this could go. But generally speaking, we do have a key level resistance here, roughly at about 27 cents from before. And again, it broke above that, but just got rejected out pretty hard. And then again, all that speculation, the price came back down. So there's a good chance that 27 cents will be a resistance level. I would recommend if you're in a long position, maybe consider a take profit target just below that. 26.5, something along those lines, because anytime you have a key support level or resistance level, it's important to make sure to set your profit targets just below or above them, depending on the direction you're trading. Taking a look at the RSI, we can see we're above 50 once more. This is fantastic. That was essentially a resistance level there at about 22 cents. We've moved past that, which is excellent. We've also got a MACD convergence on the daily. So the likelihood of this continuing higher is greater based on those two sentiments. If we do take a look at the moving averages, all 3 of them are below the price action, so we're back on track. So again, you got to keep in mind that a lot of times the 20-day set moving average will work as somewhat of a support level. In other words, we could very well see this kind of new trend, so to speak, occurring concurrent with that 20-day set moving average. Okay, so the 20 on the daily is a pretty good, I guess you could say, fundamental indicator to help you understand the direction it's heading, okay? Because a lot of times when you see that 20-day set moving average, it'll work concurrent with certain trend lines. You can kind of see here, for example, it trended upwards and it works concurrent with that. The 50 is stronger, keep that in mind, but the 20 is a good starting point. So we could very well see the price action continue higher based on that as well. So ultimately, outside of just the moving averages, I would say that the RSI and MACD, which are a little bit more impactful on the larger time frames, are telling us that there's no reason for it to slow down. It's just started picking up momentum, and the likelihood of a continuation is greater. You do also got to recognize too, though, we have a decent amount of upside here. We've got 4 candles in a row, essentially telling us there's continuation. And we take a look at TD sequential, we're at a 3. So in truth, we have a decent amount of time left for this to continue higher. But you also got to recognize that 4 days in a row does, that there is potential for a pullback. Typically the 4th day after 3 green candles, you will see a pullback. But once again, these aren't significantly large candles. So it's not technically 3 white soldiers, if that makes any sense. Make sure to look that up if you're curious about that candlestick pattern, 3 white soldiers. It's one of my favorite candlestick patterns to trade. But generally speaking, we're not seeing that just yet because it had a healthy bit of consolidation. Speaking of consolidation, we can see that here. This is the consolidation that allowed for us to get that little reset before the next leg up. I'm guessing we're right at like 7 or an 8 for TD sequential. We're at a 7. So in that sense, we are roughly about, what, 8 to 12 hours before the price action decides it wants to pull back. And what I mean by pullback is in a natural continuation, you will see higher lows being printed. So hypothetically, the next pullback will hit that higher low, right? And that's going to work concurrent with our ascending trend here and hopefully keep us above the 200-day set moving average, which we can see right there down below the price action. So we're looking darn good on every single aspect of this, minus the fact that we are, I wouldn't say we're overextended, but we're getting there. So if you see what happened previously when the price came up to an 8, consolidated sideways, legged up again. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the price action just fall or drop really hard because you hit an overextended state. It just implies that there's at least a period of consolidation that should occur before the next leg up if there were to be one. And this is looking like it wants to continue. Because again, the daily is giving us very strong indications that we are on the right track. So again, a long position would make sense here. Just keep in mind we are overextended again on the 4 hour. We're seeing that we're at a 7 and we're hitting 70 on the RSI. So I wouldn't expect the price action to continue tremendously higher from here. If it does, it'll come back down harder. We don't want it to happen. We want it to go sideways from here and maybe just leg up from there on out. I would actually prefer to see the price action come down and maybe bounce off of this trend line and or support level here at about 22 cents. So if you're going to have a stop loss in place and you're trading with one, which I always recommend unless you're using my bear market strategy, 21.6, 21.5, something below that key level support, to ensure you're not putting yourself in a position to get stopped out with some obnoxious candle wicks or candlesticks, right? Those are very much a real thing. But Chiliz is proven to be very strong, and if we take a look at Chiliz here and kind of compare it with Bitcoin, for example, you can see how much better it's doing. I mean, look at that growth, right? And that is an excellent thing, all right? So again, identifying coins that are doing better than Bitcoin is a step in the right direction, but all these contributing factors are telling us that the likelihood of an increase from here is higher. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Chiliz is looking pretty darn good here. But what I want to do myself personally is I'm going to set a reminder. Because if you see here, you see this little line kind of, so to speak, at right around 24 cents. That's essentially the most recent high, right? So the likelihood of the price action coming down to bounce off that most recent high is pretty great. So in essence, what I'm looking for here is basically just an indication right around 24 cents. So I can go ahead and get notified later, okay? So that's generally what I'm looking for. I like to go ahead and buy the dip when there's higher highs being printed at the most recent high. That's essentially where I like to take entry. All right, so that's kind of just something there on that aspect. On the other accord here, we want to look at TD sequential and kind of recognize that we are overexhausted, and we have been hitting those points. So look at how consistent Chiliz is about doing this. Comes up to a 9, hits that resistance level at 24 cents, gets rejected. Comes back down, consolidates at support, based on Fibonacci at 22 cents. Then it continues higher, hits another 9, consolidates a little bit, gets reset, and we're at another 9. Anytime you hit 2 9s in a row, specifically on the 1 hour, the likelihood of a pullback is greater. I've noticed that. So I would recommend considering waiting until the price action comes down to 24 cents, possibly consider an entry there. That's my consideration. And if it doesn't hit that, then obviously, you wait for the next entry and wait for confirmation again. But generally speaking, try not to, get stuck in the fear of missing out situation where you feel like you miss some opportunities. That's going to happen all the time. That's what trading is. It's just a series of missed opportunities. You can't catch them all. But the ones you do catch, if you're patient enough and you find the right entry, you're going to be happy that you waited. Okay. So again, do highly recommend considering waiting because again, 2 9s in a row, the likelihood of a pullback is greater. I have seen 3 or even 4 9s in a row too, so there's no guarantee it's going to pull back. It's just a stronger likelihood. Again, statistical probability, we're going to see a pullback on the short term, but a long-term macro move, I would say, is more likely to the upside. Let's take a quick look at the clouds. Probably going to be all green lights here. So if you do have a long position open, don't even worry about closing it because just say it does come back down here and it bounces off the cloud and or that support level at 24 cents, then there's a strong inclination that the price is going to continue higher and you don't need to get out of your position. It wouldn't be terrible to consider taking profits if you are profitable right now. But again, every situation is different. By the time you catch this video, things are going to be perhaps a lot different than what we're seeing right now. Okay. So again, all good stuff here in that sense, but I would expect somewhat of a pullback. I'm expecting 24 cents or close to 24 cents, probably just above, to be the next potential low. That would be fantastic if that's the case. And let's just take a quick look here and see if it is overextended. It's not currently at this time, but you can see this little bit of a pullback after it was overextended through that standard deviation. But volume at average price does tell us we have a support level forming right around 25 cents based on the last 24 hours of volume. And that's a positive sign too. So again, it could only pull back to 25 cents if it were to. If it does pull back further to 24, that would be a potential entry for me. To me, I like to wait for that. Again, and you're probably saying, well, that wouldn't be good because you'd be under the VWAP line, right? Because hypothetically, you want to always be above it to take a trade. That's true. You can absolutely do that. But if you use my VWAP notification here, you can kind of see that, you know, when the price breaks below, you're perfectly fine to be able to take entry once it comes up above. All right, now I touched briefly on this. I cover this, I believe, in my trading videos, and this is something that is available to members. So if you'd like to copy this, please feel free to let me know. It's an indicator that I created. That really just helps you understand that, you know, when you have 30 minutes of confirmation above EMA 15 and the VWAP line, that you are in a position to possibly take entry. Again, a lot of other factors need to filter in, but again, the likelihood of it pushing up a little bit higher is there. Okay, anytime you see these yellow carrots, the likelihood of the price goes higher. Okay. It's pretty consistent. Again, just a little something that I use as reassurance, or more so insurance, when there is less reassurance. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at there. I hope that this was impactful and beneficial for you to hopefully learn some things, of course. You want to learn a whole heck of a lot more, cryptocash.tech is a site, link in the description below. And if you want to become a better trader and use a better exchange, use Bitget. Make sure to use my link down below. If you fund your account, there's always bonuses, but more important, we have a $10,000 current prize pool monthly starting in January, because again, December is a King's Cup. You want to be part of that too. You got 2 days to register. Just go ahead and search for Crypto Cash on the actual page here, and you'll be able to join my team. So it's up to you. All right, well, I look forward to working with you. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.